Welcome to BioOrigin. In this video I will show you how I grow an entire pharmacy at home. So this is how I grow the wonder plant, Marigold. The Marigold plant has dozens of documented benefits. It helps human health as well as soil health. It draws in beneficial insects and at the same time helps repel harmful ones. Humans have used marigolds for at least 1,000 years. As far as we can tell, the Marigold plant was first used by the Aztecs. When the Europeans invaded the Aztecs, they shipped marigold seeds back home to Europe and to their colonies in North Africa. After the American Civil Wars have settled, marigold seeds were shipped from Europe and Africa back to America. Of course, this all happened through long periods of time, so in the end there were three main species of marigold in circulation. The African kind, which is largely known as the Egyptian marigold, is, in my opinion, the prettiest of these types. Still, it might be the least beneficial of the marigold plants. The more useful species of marigold's scientific name is Calendula officinalis, more commonly known as calendula, is probably the most beneficial species for human body health and to the soil. Marigold is known by many names in many places. Marigold, Holy Gold, Maribud, Hot Marigold, and Maidens of the Sun are but a few of the names this plant is called. The Aztecs we got this wonderful plant from used it extensively. It's been described to have religious, mystical, and medicinal uses. Aztecs used it to clear hiccups, an unusual use to say the least. They used marigolds to treat the effects of being struck by lightning. And maybe not the most surprising of the list of uses, Aztecs used marigolds to, quote, cross large bodies of water unharmed, end quote. So these were some marigold uses by the Aztecs according to the historic record written by De la Cruz Badiano, written in 1552. But moving on from hiccups and crossing large bodies of water safely, marigolds are considered very beneficial to the soil and other plants. It draws in beneficial insects such as bees and other pollinators. Marigold excretes chemicals from its roots that repel pathogens and harmful to the plant insects. And generally speaking, marigold enhances the soil it's planted in and the other plants growing around it. That's why many gardeners consider it a wonderful companion plant with most plants. Marigold also has many benefits to the human body. What we have written on marigold plants is too much to be included in a single video, but information about health benefits of marigold is widely available over the internet for those interested. Later on, God willing, I plan to make a couple of clips for this channel on some things marigold are used to treat, how to use it in teas and otherwise, and a few recipes to combat various illnesses using marigold. When choosing your marigold plants, think of what benefits you expect from them, as various species vary in their benefits. Generally speaking, marigolds native to Egypt and North Africa have beautiful, full shapes. While it is generally agreed on that the species that contain the most benefits is the Calendula officinalis. Marigold seeds in general are thin and long. You'll most probably find a bit of the mother flower on the tip of each seed. Planting marigold seeds can be done as easily as broadcasting the seeds on top of the soil, then covering it with a very thin layer of soil, say 1 centimeter or half an inch deep. I've seen many people planting the seeds by putting the whole seed in the soil while keeping the white or pink part attached to it on top of the soil. I tried both ways for germination and I've had great success with both. Most of us don't pay attention to this because we mostly plant it for the flower, but almost every part of the marigold plant is useful in some way. The flower is but one phase of the plant's life cycle. The marigold plant grows vertically for the most part, and to make it bushy, one has to take certain actions. When we get to this stage in growing our marigolds, I'll show you what I do in this regard. But it's important to consider whether you want the plants to grow tall or to fill up sideways to be able to consider the distances you leave between the seeds during planting. The best time to start planting marigolds is in spring, after the last frost. But in this particular case, I grew mine in the fall, as that's when I got my seeds. I have about a couple of weeks before its first frost where I live, but I don't want to wait for months before growing it. So I'm growing it inside my apartment under grow lights. I'm starting my plants in paper cups or small boxes. Really, use what you have. I plant 3 to 4 seeds together in the same container, and throughout the germination period I make sure the soil surface is never dry. Making the soil soggy will most likely result in the seeds rotting, but letting it dry will also result in killing the seeds. Marigolds are quick to germinate. Depending on the heat and humidity where you live, your soil, and the quality of the seeds you have, marigold seeds can take anywhere from 4 to 21 days to germinate. As for the soil, like with all other plants, every plant wants great soil. That's a bit hard to come by everywhere though. So my advice to you is grow them in whatever soil you have, great or terrible. Soil can be amended and enhanced over time. And marigolds are supposed to help with that anyway. So plant in what you have. Any element missing from your soil, if there is such a thing, there's a natural way to make it at home and add it to the soil in liquid or solid form for the plant's use. These particular seeds you see here germinated and the first 2 leaves were open in 4 days. They were planted in a small 3 by 3 by 3 centimeters plastic box, about a cubic inch box, with drainage holes drilled into it. The soil used was pure vermicompost, not because it's necessary or would make much of a difference at this stage, but because it was what I had on hand. I misted the soil surface daily till I saw the leaves, and the box was kept where it didn't see any direct sunlight. Once the first leaves were out, I moved the box to a windowsill where the plants got about an hour or 2 a day of filtered sunlight. It took 10 more days for the plant's first true leaves to emerge and to be about 1 centimeter long each. I would normally wait till the first set of true leaves is a lot larger than this to transplant, but I saw the roots were starting to peer through the drainage holes. There are 3 plants in this small box, so I didn't want to risk them getting root bound or tangled together much at this stage. In a 2-liter or half a gallon pot, I put a layer of gravel at the bottom about 1 centimeter or half an inch thick to keep the drainage holes open, then filled the lower half of the pot with garden soil. I then filled the rest of the pot with vermicompost. I had other pots prepared the same way, so each plant would have its own. Dug a hole in the pot's soil, put my fingers over the top of the soil in the small box. With a gentle tap on its bottom, the 3 plants and their soil came out in one block. I need to separate the plants in different pots, so I'll break the soil gently. Unfortunately, one of the plants seems to have had a weak root system, so it broke off. The other 2 plants have good root systems. I put one of them in the pot and covered it firmly with soil. I also buried the plant with the broken off roots in the same pot. I don't think it will make it without roots at this stage, but we'll see. I repeated the same process with the 3rd plant off screen with a smaller pot, about 1 liter capacity. At this time, water the plants thoroughly. In my case, I put the 2 pots under full spectrum growing lights where they get 12 hours or more of light a day. If it was spring, I could just put the pots in filtered sun for a few days to harden the plants, then move them to full sun in about a week or so. About a week later, all 3 plants are alive and doing well. To my surprise, even the plant with no roots is still looking green and healthy. We'll keep an eye on this plant as time goes by and see what it does. No apparent change in how any of the plants look at this stage. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon to see the progress of the marigold plants and other videos I upload to the channel. See you next time.